Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 8th episode of season 2 of the podcast Society and Stuff with your host, Joseph Eisman. The musical introduction of this podcast is brought to you by Blue Dot Sessions. The name of the song is Celestial Navigation, a really great piece of music that I think fit the mode for this podcast. The topic of this episode is about food and culture. That is why I have a guest. She is educated within Ayurveda, Macrobiotics, Jungian Psycho-Genealogy, and Nutripuncture. I say welcome to Gaia Arrigoni. Hello, Gaia. How are you?
Ciao, Joseph. I'm fine. I'm very fine. Thank you. I'm happy to hear you and to be your guest. I'm really happy about it.
That's good. And it's a pleasure having you here, and it's really appreciative. How was my Italian accent? I tried to channel my inner Italian.
Perfect. Your spelling about my name and surname is very perfect. Italiano vero.
Oh. Perfect. Yeah. So have you been on a podcast before?
No. I did many interviews in Italy, but never a podcast. So it's my first time, and I'm happy to have my first podcast with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here and being on this episode about food and culture. I think that the listeners will find the episode intriguing. I have a couple of questions that I am going to ask during this interview and this discussion. But before we begin with the questions, I'm thinking that we can begin with a bit of an introduction. If you could tell about yourself, who is Gaia Arrigoni?
Yeah, so my name is Gaia and I'm from Italy. I was born in Milan, but I lived in many places. In Europe and outside, like Kenya and also Jamaica. But now, from 3 years and a half, I live with my family in Sweden. I work with health and well-being now from 15 years, and I have done this through holistic practices and also natural food projects. I started with natural food, studying with permaculture, and after with, as you said in the beginning, Ayurvedic diet and a macrobiotic culture, just really a school that I started in Mombasa and after in Italy. And also for over 10 years, I had a project with my husband called La Cucina Verde, the Green Kitchen. And now I focus on a different project that is more personal, that is called Gaia In Equilibrium. And it comes from my long personal journey, but also from my real experiences in body, mental health through meditation, relationships, and daily life, obviously. So here I am now.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, well, I think, you covered everything about the introduction, so I think that we can move on to the ongoing questions. If we begin with the very first question of this discussion, this interview, what made you choose to work with food, but also other methods that are linked to health and wellness?
So, with food was something I think that was grounded in my root, was rooted in my DNA. Food was the first way I learned to take care of others, but also the first time was about taking care of myself. As a child, I didn't eat so much. People were around me, my family, they were really, but also friends, the mothers of my friends, they were really worried because I didn't want to eat. I wasn't so much interested in food. And so they made special recipe for me. Every day they tried to do whatever you can imagine in Italian culture, food culture. They tried to give me to eat something. Later, I rushed through meals like I was calling Speedy Gonzales. Do you know the Disney?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
But also I didn't feel good. I mean, I couldn't really found a balance, an equilibrium between food and my body. And around age of 30, I understood that I needed real nourishment. I mean, to feel strong, to feel grounded, that what I was doing with running, working, and eating in very fast 5-10 minutes wasn't the correct way to find my inner power. So I started to study Ayurveda because at that time I was doing yoga with a really good yoga teacher, and she started to explain me about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, so all the kind of division of the Ayurveda. And I started to study Ayurveda at first. But after a while, I switched to macrobiotic. So Japanese food culture from Michokushi. And I studied many years in Kenya. Then I went for 1 year, almost 1 year in US for my job. And I studied also in the Michokushi school in US. And then I finished my school of macrobiotics in Milan. And then obviously when you start to discover this kind of energy connected to the food, and especially macrobiotics, and that was talking about meridians and the five elements and 5 families of organs connected to the energies, and also Ayurveda connected to the chakras. Obviously, I started to study Chinese medicine too, but just connected, related to food and herbs, and so meridians, but more connected to the food. And so I learned a lot. I learned, for example, and understood why it was too difficult for me to eating when I was a child, because I learned that food, most 100% of the time, is connected to emotions, and the organs are connected to the emotions, and so food are connected to the emotions in 3 different cultures, Japanese, Chinese, and India. I discovered that in a different languages, in different way to explain the body and the connection and the relations between emotion and food, but they were teaching me exactly the same pattern, the same, let's say, the same language with 3 different roots of languages, but the same truth. Speaking about truth probably is something that helps people to understand better. And after many years, let's say from 30 to 38, 30, 39, then I started also to study psychogenealogy. Because again, I understood obviously that the food, it's related from our families, from our roots, and also from our emotional habits are related from the family, from where we are coming from, and the environment. And so, for example, in Italy, it's very easy to say, oh, you are sad, eat something, come, we eat something sweet, for example. And so this was again a long period of studying about emotion, about family connections between food. And so I understood also how many diseases are connected with through like little dots that are inside and outside our lives. And finally, I found Nutripuncture, Nutripuntura in Italian. It brought everything together. It was something that was nothing to discover, Nutripuncture. It was something just to see, was there. And Nutripuncture is something that helped me a lot between body, something physical, but also something more related with the emotions and it wasn't a mental choice of choosing Nutripuncture to help me a little bit more. It was just something that I felt immediately in my body and my soul. So now, as a holistic practitioner, or let's say holistic therapist, I'm using food, yes, a little bit more to help people to understand how they are going to some foods because they are looking for something else, because there is an emotion behind. And also I help them more to understand the connection between their families, their family habits, and their emotions. And I help them through Nutripuncture, Psycho-Genealogy, and obviously a little bit food.
Yeah, you felt finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a mix of, a little bit of everything, you can say. That's good.
Yeah, because the thing is that we are used to think as a human that we are like machines and that we are separate. Mental health, body health, emotional health. No, we are all, the three things are connected, and we are connected also between our family habits and so our past and our present. So we can change. It's not something that, okay, I'm coming from a family with, for example, food problems, mental issues related to food, and so I will never be free. No, no, no. It's something that is helping us to understand, to see, to understand, and to change. For example, in Gaia In Equilibrium, I'm using a lot of this kind of, let's say, refrain, let's say a mantra. So like, remember, heal, and reborn, because it's something that it's important to understand our roots. If you understand where is rooted your problem of emotional unbalance or food unbalance, then you can understand it, because then you can heal yourself. So this is the point. It's not something psychological, because I did some studies obviously with psychogenealogy, but it's something that it's more a coaching that I can offer to the person between three different approach and let's say approaches.
Yeah, but the genetics, they do have a factor as well.
Yes, we can say that. But the thing is that the genetics can give us, for example, the way how we are looking, the face, the eyes, the color of our eyes, if you are tall or a little bit wider. But we can change the approach of what is more, let's say, invisible. The DNA and the genetic that are more invisible, but we can do it something. If, for example, if we know that we have a problem in our family, for example, that we are not used to stay all together in a warm and calm situation when we eat together, obviously we will start to have problems to sit down, to eat calm, to have no pressure. For example, I remember still now that I'm almost 50 years old, my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother, they were repeating to me, mangia, that means eat, manja, manja. I was stressful, and obviously, instead of starting to eat and to enjoy the food, I started to close my throat, to close my stomach. And all these kind of thing generated in me a kind of, okay, I need now to rush to eat everything, even if my body doesn't want to eat, even if my stomach was full, because if I eat quickly, then nobody will stress me and I can start to go and do whatever I want, because I was sitting at the table 2 hours. Because if you don't finish what you have in your plate, you can't stand up. You can't go out and play with your cousins. Can you imagine? This is something that is, it's, for example, to my child, I teach him, please try to be focused on what you have in your plate. Eat, then follow your sensation, follow your stomach, follow your gut, but please be focused, be conscious about what you are doing. Don't talk all the time. Just be focused. Be focused on what you like and what you dislike. But try, even if you think that you dislike that food for color or texture, try today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, little. And then you can go forward. And in any case, I will never tell him, if you don't finish whatever you have, a little piece in your plate, you can't go and play. It's something that it's incredible. And we know these things now, but for how many generations of people suffer for this kind of mentality? And I can understand why. My family suffered 2 wars in Italy. So they suffered hungriness. So I can understand. They were hungry for a lot of time of their lives. So for there was important that I was eating, huh? But eating was not what I needed. I needed something else.
Oh, yeah. You felt finished.
Yeah.
Very fascinating, definitely. And as you mentioned about your aunt, your grandmother and mother and etc., it's a generational thing, and society, the structure of society changes. The structure of the world changes over the years. Maybe in some countries not that much, but in other countries they change to the extreme. Before, the groceries that you bought from the markets, the grocery stores, they were seasonal based. Nowadays, there are different ways of creating different types of groceries. So if we move on to the next question, what are your thoughts on groceries that are not seasonal based any longer?
So generally, every time I see food that is coming from the other part of the world, I can understand why people would like to eat fruits and vegetables that are not in their country where they are living. But the thing is that when we stop eating seasonal food, local food, then we lose totally our connection with the nature, because the nature is cyclic. So 3, 4, or 2 big seasons, it depends where do you live. But then there is a cyclic repeating of the nature. If you start, for example, to eat food in winter that are produced in the other part of the world where is summer, you are completely losing the feeling of who you are and where do you live. Out of season food also is often less fresh. I mean, if you think that banana and avocado are coming from Africa in December in Sweden or in Italy too, we have the same problem in Italy. And then you can understand that, and then you eat them and then you think, okay, this is good. And then when you have the chance and you are lucky to go in these countries, and in their countries you can find fresh food and you taste banana and you find that the bananas, they have a completely different taste, the smell. Here, not in Sweden, I mean in Europe, tropical fruits, they don't have the smell. And I lived in Kenya, I lived in Jamaica, I traveled many countries, and I can understand that here it's like plastic food. It's better to eat something that is more nutrition, because there are less nutritious. It's bad for the planet. We are talking about respecting the nature, CO2, a lot of these kind of problems, the green economy. And then what we are doing, we are buying from the other part of the world fruits and vegetables outside the normal season for our country. And we are using a lot of fuel. And also we are taking this kind of non-seasonal food is something that is bad for us and bad for the nature and bad obviously for the world, for the entire planet. So it's something that is a nonsense. Also for our body is not a good, it's better to eat dried fruits. So you would like to eat mango. It's better to eat dried mango, that it's taking inside more nutritious, that fresh mango that is taken from the plants, that is green, not ready to be eaten, obviously, because it takes a lot of time to come in Europe, and then it has to have the time to be sold. So, I mean, it's something that is not clever. And also it's something so easy to understand that I can't understand how we are so manipulated about this food. I mean, this is a big manipulation. It's better to eat, for example, mango coming from Sicily if you live in Sweden, and not from Africa, not from Brazil, not from any other country. And it's better to eat food in the season. So mango is becoming ready in July, August in Sicily, not in December, because in December it's ready in another part of the world. And in December, it's better to eat the vegetables that are ready and good for the season. Where do you live? It's so easy. When I was in Italy, we have the same problem in Italy. Don't think that in Italy we don't have this problem. We have. Because as you said, the culture is changing. The families are changing. And this kind of food culture, that is not a culture, is a manipulation, it started many years ago, decades in Italy too. Mm-hmm. So this is something that it's about rhythm and respect of ourselves and about the nature. Full stop. There is no much more to say. And there is something that we have, as I said many years ago, and I tried to start little projects on the territory in the north of Italy. We have to teach the young generations to understand. And I got a project that was called From the Seed to the Plate. And I organized every Saturday with different classes. Age was 7, 12 years old. And we started with a seed. So we were showing the children the seeds of the plant, and we were doing a lot of games about the seeds. So guess this seed for you, from which plant is coming. Oh, zucchini, no, eggplants, no, this one. Was very interesting, playing and working with children. And then we planted the plants. Then they saw how many times, how many days they need to wait until to see the green sprout coming out. And then from the little vase, putting in the vegetable garden, and then waiting other weeks, and then to see it growing the plant, and then again, and it takes time. And they understood. Okay. So the tomato that are in plastic trays with a plastic wrap are not coming just like, for example, with a 3D machine, 3D printer. No, it's a real food. And they were smelling and testing the tomatoes in the vegetable garden under the sun. And they were saying, okay, but this is tasting good. Yes, because this is a real tomato that you waited, that was ready on the plant. Mm. So this is the thing. Working with new generation, if we would like really to understand how to respect in the next 50, 100 years, how to respect our planet, is that we have to work with the food and with the new generation about how to deal with the food, real food.
Definitely. You mentioned about the mango there. A common issue, especially in Sweden, is that the mango, you can buy it any season of the year. It doesn't matter if it's autumn, winter, summer, you name it, any season. And when you buy it, of course, it is like a stone during the winter period in Sweden. And Sweden has heavy winters and so on. So it is, well, I would say quite stupid to have tropical fruits, exotic fruits during winter season in Sweden, for example. And that people, they think it's all right. They think that tropical and exotic fruits should be all year, all around. Doesn't matter which season. I've never understood that kind of mentality, though.
No, it's true, because it's but like eating tomatoes in December. Tomatoes are ready until, let's say, maximum September in Italy. Then eating in December means that you are eating a food that was not ready under the sun, but for the sun, but under lamps. And I can understand in countries like Iceland that they are growing food under vegetable
glass houses.
Yeah. So it's nonsense. Talking about and thinking about electric cars and not thinking about the things that we are every day using in our plates, minimum 3 times a day. So that is called food. So this is the region of a lot of pollution, a lot of problems. This is the problem. So we have to rethink about the food chain. Completely.
Yeah.
This is the new revolution. This is the real revolution. That is not restriction. Is thinking, planning, and doing a real project. That doesn't mean that we can't buy mango from other countries, but probably that we have to re-educate it ourselves to eat mango few, not like a normal. For example, we were joking about bananas in Italy because the daily snack for children, the banana in Italy. And we were talking to the mothers more than the fathers. Okay, how many bananas plants do you see here in Lombardia, in Milano? And they were looking themselves to each other and say, okay, it's true. Why not a pear? Why not an apple that we have in Lombardia? We are full of apples and pears. Why? Or apricots in spring. Why? So this is the thing. Pushing to banana. Because there is a lot of potassium. Do you know there's more potassium in broccoli? So probably it's better that you teach your child to eat broccoli and you find recipes that are good for him, her, with broccoli. Try. You have the ability to do it as mother. And this is the thing. So non-seasonal food is a nonsense habit that we have. And I'm really worried about, we are trying to teach to our child, but it's only one child. Before in Italy, we were trying to change with small groups. And we were also working with this food market, organic food market that is very common and famous in Italy. That is called the Natura Si. And we have the same kind of brand here in Sweden as Ecor. Ecor is working with the biodynamics agricultural system and is also in Sweden too. And for example, I'm buying the flour for my bread from these places that are in the south of Sweden. I'm not buying, just sometimes I buy some flour coming from Sicily, but I'm trying to buy all the food that are more close to me.
Yeah. When you answered the question, you touched about 3D printed food and so on. If we stick to the same subjects in these questions, and so if we move on to the next question, then new ways of creating different types of groceries have arisen, namely the future on a plate. For example, 3D printed food. What are your thoughts on that, and what impact can it have in the world, would you say?
So technology is interesting. I really love technology, but not for food. I mean, we can use technology to improve our chance to work in difficulty situation environment, to grow our food, not to produce as something. I mean, we need to go further. We need to do a little bit back to the basics, use our hands, teaching our children to use their hands and connect it with the earth, to have a really healthy planet. Food is more than fuel. So why we should use a 3D printer to produce fake food? So it's better to use pills. I mean, the food holds energy, holds memory, holds culture. If we forget these things, we lose our connection to our root, from our root to our bodies, and we lose connection to the planet.
Yeah.
I have studied permacultures as my hobby, and I organized a little project of permaculture in Kenya with people coming from Europe and teaching the locals how to build with local materials a very cheap but very strong house, and how to grow food in a very more useful for them way to produce more food with less work. And I think permaculture, that is something that is coming from an Australian group of people that are working from 40 years and more about permanent culture, permacultures. because it's something that we have to. If we would like to go forward, we have to do some steps back and to understand that technology can help us, but without losing the connection. I believe the future is caring for the soil and the community and not printing meals. It's something that is unnatural. It's something that is not for us. We are, again, as I told at the beginning, we are not machines. We are not divided in small pieces. We are all together and we are all connected. We can't separate like this the human from the natural agriculture. Also, the natural way, for example, we are eating too much meat, and now there is a lot of vegan products in our supermarkets. But that kind of vegan supermarkets, it's not something natural. We have to reduce the production of unnatural, the factories for the animals are unnatural.
The slaughterhouses, the factories,
the
slaughterhouses.
That are unnatural. So we don't need to restrict people to reduce their amount of meat they would like to eat. We have to change in every country, like in Sweden. In Sweden is more natural. The production for animals, for meat, is more natural, and the meat is different. The animals are free. It's completely different. I mean, also in Italy, we have a lot of problems about the slaughter, about the animals factories. This is the problem. Again, eating everyday meat is something that we can do it if we eat high quality of meat, high quality of eggs, high quality of cheese, for example. And we have to teach again and to learn for ourselves again how to eat all the food that are inside, for example, the food pyramid. That is something that I'm vegetarian and I was vegan for 15 years, but I started to eat again a little bit fish sometimes, but I'm more vegetarian, so a little bit cheese and eggs here in Sweden because it's very cold for me. And I have also to eat a little bit more animal food because the vegetables are not so rich in nutrition because, again, they are coming from the other part of the world in December. So it's difficult for me to eat a lot of vegetables, but I'm eating, for example, a lot of chickpeas, a lot of beans, and I'm trying to find again a balance. But it's more easy to be vegan if you live in Florida. It's hot, or in Kenya, but not in some part of the other world. And also there are also some other problems related with the health, that are people that can't eat a lot of vegetables. They have to reduce the vegetables and eat more meat. And then also the single person that can understand that for them it's better not to be forced, but to be a choice. But what is to be not really forced, but to be educated is in the people, in the culture, is that we have to change our approach, how to deal with animals, how to deal with our consumption of meat. Again, not bringing meat from the other side, frozen meat from the other side of the world, and not having thousands of animals that are suffering and they are treated in a bad ways with antibiotics and whatever. So it's something, again, we don't need a lot of 3D printer to produce meat. We have to change our mentality and our, again, consciousness about the food, about what is nutrition. If we think about all these interesting questions that you asked to me, again, we can finish every time with consciousness, awareness. Your questions are very good because are very deep. I mean, you can really think deeper and deeper in different layers.
That's the idea with the questions for the podcast because I want to give a deep meaning, I want to establish something meaningful during the discussions when I have guests that I invite. So yeah, I'm glad that you think that they are deep because I mean that's the goal. That's what I'm aiming for. Namely with the podcast as well. That's
exactly
what I'm aiming for.
The questions that you are asking are useful. Are really useful.
Yeah, you start reflecting and you start thinking about how things really are and how things have changed throughout the years, definitely, and how things have been established throughout the years, of course. And if you felt finished with the question, I'm thinking we can move on. Not everything you have mentioned. You start reflecting, and very good answers on the questions, definitely. And well, we hope that these questions will touch the right people in the world, and so they can start reflecting on where things are going or where things really stand today.
Yeah.
We have discussed about different types of food, foods, groceries that are not seasonal based any longer, and 3D printed food. And then we have the way of living in, it's different countries, depending from country to country, of course. In countries that are not that fully developed, they live differently. But in countries that are developed, like, for example, Sweden and so on, there is a different way of living. And so if we move on to the next question, then would you say that today's standard of living is a good thing?
It depends on what we mean by standard.
Well, when I'm thinking standard, I'm thinking, for example, we have... if we take a developing country like Sweden, for instance, we have office jobs. You sit in front of a desk, in front of a computer for hours, or we have jobs that are not where you do not move. You are just stuck the entire day. Or we have, let's say, the way of living. There are superficial problems in a developing country like Sweden. And that's what I mean with the standard of living, because countries like Sweden and maybe other European countries, they have superficial ways of dealing with problems, depending on what the problems are. So that's what I mean with the standard of living, if that's a good thing.
For example, as you mentioned Sweden, but Italy is the same. We have more comfort, but less presence, starting from the shopping that we do every day for our food. Mm-hmm. We have more stimulation. We can work from our house through the computer, talking with other countries and whatever, but we are losing the connection. We are fewer real roots. We can eat food again from everywhere, anywhere, but we often miss a real flavor. People, I think, are starting to feel this kind of disconnection, are starting to feel that is something that they would like in a different way. I mean, they would like to have more true, more simple life. I lived in Kenya, where it was normal to plan, and also most of the time you couldn't plan, blackout. We are talking now about blackout, and to have something ready for the blackout. In Kenya was daily. You run a business, you have some, for example, fridge or in your house, and you have to plan about it. And even to think, oh, today there wasn't a blackout. Oh, how lucky I was. Or for example, was easy that the ferry boat, I was living in the south of Kenya, near Tanzania, and I have to go one time a week to Mombasa, and the connection to Mombasa, the quick connection to Mombasa, was through a ferry boat. And you arrive there, and then, oh, sorry, ferry boat is closed because it's broken. And you say, okay.
Oh.
And how do you have another fairy? No, we have only one. And they were looking at us, European people, like, how are you strange to ask us this kind of question? What do you think? We have another ferry boat? Okay, this week we don't have enough food to run our business because my husband opened a bakery. And so we learned ourselves how to manage different kind of production for that week because just ferry boat was broken. Okay, you know? So this is the thing without thinking about this kind of extreme reality. But I think that 80%, not 80, but 70% of the world is like that. Talking about India or Africa, South America, a lot of countries are in this condition. This is the thing. Trying to find a balance. Again, an equilibrium. For that reason, I called my new project Gaia In Equilibrium, because Gaia means the earth in Greek, happy in Latin. So it's like a happy earth in equilibrium. We have to find the balance. We have to find the connection. Again, I love technology. I believe in new technologies that are coming. I'm really interested about what we are doing and they are doing about robots and things that are helping also DNA, medical things. But again, without losing ourselves, the real ourselves. We are
Right.
human. We are still humans. I mean,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
these are our
Yeah.
standards of living. Yeah.
Yeah. You felt finished?
Yes, I'm felt finished.
Yeah. It's interesting. You mentioned there about the ferry boat. Which country was this also? Was this in
Kenya.
Italy or?
Yeah, Kenya.
Kenya, yeah. No, if it was in Sweden, for example, where you have to catch the boat or catch the bus or the train for a meeting because, everything is stressful. It's a stressful environment, a stressful society. You would freak out totally if there was no other trains, no other buses. You would just have a
Can you
meltdown, complete meltdown.
Can you imagine a blackout here in Stockholm? Without Swish, without Bankidi, without, oh my goodness, I can
Without
imagine.
any of the technology. That is why I do not like the extreme use of technology, because it is discriminatory. We do have to put words like that when it comes to that for the politicians and the decision makers to really understand the seriousness of this situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have parking spaces that they do not have any machines. You can only pay with an app. It's just a parking space, but they do not have any machines. You just pay with the app. Why? Because technology. And you have, 6 different types of apps just for parking.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I have it to learn it 3 years ago. I was getting crazy, but what the hell? Which kind of, I got, for example, was the other one was perfect about Stockholm Stad parking. No, they removed
Yeah.
it. Obviously,
They
because
removed it.
because I have now to pay Easy Park or Parkster
Easy Park.
or IMO
Yes.
or whatever now we have more and more. Yes.
Yeah. And you know why they removed it? Financial reasons.
Huh? Yeah, obviously. Money.
Yeah.
The same in Italy.
Money.
We have the same exactly problems in Italy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Mm-mm.
It is. There are many things that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you felt finished, we can move on to the next question, I'm thinking. Yeah. And then we move on to the next question. There are countries with different types of cultures, namely drinking cultures, to the extent that it is a norm, but also to the extent that behavioral shifts occur. People start losing control and they are fine with it. Why is that, would you say?
I'm going straight to the point. I mean, in many cultures,
Do it. Feel free.
Yeah. In many cultures, people drink to hide their pain or emotions. This is the point. This is the root of everything. alcohol becomes a way to escape, and society accepts it. Sometimes people drink just to feel free, but it's a fake kind of freedom. Again, it's something that is manipulation, because we have advertising about how it's funny and how people are free and happy if they drink something and if they have something in their hands to drink. Alcohol should be a pleasure, not an escape. I mean, what I see in the young generation in Italy, and also I saw it in Africa, Jamaica, US, UK, wherever I lived or traveled for my job, for my previous job, and also here in Sweden, that behind trying to lose the control, there is only loneliness and or a lack of real rituals in life. I mean, when I was young and still now, if I reach a goal, if I receive like something good in my life, I would like to say cheers, cin cin, we say in Italy, with a little, just a little amount of wine together with somebody. If you watch the TV, especially the US, American TV series, then you see that they are used to drink. They go at home and say, oh, I got a horrible day. I have to drink. And they drink a lot. Obviously, can you imagine if our teenagers that now are 30, 40, 50 years old, and can you imagine? I try to imagine about my son, my child that is only 6 now. If he starts at 11, 12 years old to see some of these kind of movies and TV series, how his brain, it will be manipulated, torched in a way that, oh, okay, if I'm tired, if I'm stressed, if I'm sad, I have to find a solution, and this is the solution, alcohol. I never saw a movie about, okay, I need to breathe, I need to go and run a little bit, I need to chat a little bit with my friend. So alcohol, again, should be a pleasure, not an escape. And the same goes for sugar, tobacco, or even everybody here is using the.
It's enough.
Enough, yeah.
Yeah.
These all things we are using to avoid to feel hard feelings. Again, is something that is a manipulation that we are receiving from the big companies, and we are taking in our life, and we are really thinking that we need to drink alcohol, we have to eat sugars and candies or tobacco or the snuff and whatever to feel better. But it's not. At the end, it's not. It's worse. So we need healthier ways to face ourselves and our problems and the real life. Hello, this is real life, having a difficult day. Again, why we are not able to stay in presence in our bad feelings? Who taught us that we can't survive after a bad day or after during a bad period? Who taught us that we are not able? And who told us? I know who told us, but I mean, why we are thinking that we don't have any kind of different tools, healthier ways to find out how to be stronger. This is the thing. Drinking culture is not a culture. Again, it's like
you abuse. That's the thing. You abuse when drinking too much, just like when you abuse by assaulting someone, or when you abuse the snuff, or when you abuse the tobacco. You abuse everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
Exactly.
It's an addiction. Maybe drinking culture was wrong. Maybe I should have put drinking addiction, or something like that. But since it has become a culture in country. What did you say?
After a while, it's the same origin. The addiction has the same origin and probably exactly direct origin through food, alcohol, sugars, cravings. Not everybody of us will use the drugs, obviously, the heavy drugs, but most of the time, people that are starting, for example, with alcohol and tobacco, after a while, they will be full of these kind of substances, and there is not enough to manage to deal with their bad, hard feelings. And so they start to find out something more.
Yeah.
Like, for example, with the tobacco, the cigarettes, you start with one, sometimes a day, and then you increase a lot. And the snuff in your mouth is the same. You see the people. And the cravings after, in macrobiotic, Japanese food culture, is called yin-yang unbalance. And Nutripuncture is the same. When you find people that are telling you, no, I can't survive without, for example, chips. I have to eat chips every day, or I have to eat candies every week, or I can't survive after a bad day without half bottle of wine. Then we know exactly, as Nutripuncture therapists, that there is a unbalance of some organs, and we know how to deal with this kind of addiction. And I know, as macrobiotic therapist, also how to deal and how to bring the people slowly, how to understand, okay, try this food. When you are attracted to these candies or alcohol, whatever, I can help you with these kind of natural remedies that you can cook or prepare for yourself instead of. And then in the meantime, I can help you also with this kind of about Nutripuncture. And then in the meantime, we can work about Psycho-Genealogy, because again, what is connected to this kind of feeling, emotion that you are, no? And this is the thing. But this again is something that is connected to, unbalance.
I mean, oh my God, you mentioned about this snuff. I mean, I've never understood why there are people who love it. I can tell you once
Joseph,
at
I don't
work.
know if you would like to cut this part, but I can explain to you. It's connected with a kind of not resolved period in their lives. People that are smoking are connected to the oral part of the human. We have different kind of oral part of our life, of our growing. Is the oral part. Most of the time there was a problem with the mother, with the suction of the milk, problems with the breastfeeding, whatever. And there's something that people are starting to find out, all the people that are starting to smoke. Now, here in Sweden especially, they are using this snuff. Why? Because the culture of Sweden told them that smoking cigarette was very dangerous for the health and also for the environment. Unfortunately, using this kind of snuff is worse for the health, because these kind of toxic and chemical substances that are inside, you can immediately receive it in your brain from the mouth, from the saliva, and this is giving more addiction than the cigarette, first of all. Second, have you noticed in the city how many of these horrible, smashy, how are called these buttons that are thrown everywhere on the street? So can you tell me honestly that these are not bad as the cigarettes lost on the floor? It's the same.
You mean the drugs? Is it a drug?
Button that they are putting with the drugs inside, the tobacco and whatever. And then when they are finished, almost after 20 minutes, they are finished. And you see these people that are throwing it and just abandon on the floor. If you, especially near the subways, you can find a lot near the floor. If you just have a look and you see, they are everywhere. On the floor.
Cocaine hidden buttons or pill button.
Also.
Oh my God.
And this is the thing. We need really to put ourselves in the real center of a system that we can deal and manage with our health. That the health is in our hands, and that we can really find our balance, our center, our consciousness. But again, if we think that we don't have the power, we don't have an inner power, we don't have a real voice, and we don't understand that how we are manipulated for example, from the advertising, and then we are not really free. So again, it's connected with the drinking culture. We feel to be free, and we think that we need to drink alcohol. But when we start to drink alcohol in that kind of losing the control, exactly in that point, we are not free. We are not rebel. We are not free.
No.
We are exactly the other way around. I mean, our life is going worse. We will be prison of our addiction.
It's a different thing if it's if you drink it, but it's in a sociable matter. Like you only drink because you want to say cheers to something, you want to celebrate something. That's different, of course. Yeah, you have to celebrate. I mean, for example, marriages happens once in a lifetime, or maybe for others they happen many times in a lifetime. But
yes, diploma, a career. You go you are pensioner now. Okay, we have years, a birth of a child. We have to do a ritual again. Lack of real rituals in our life because we are not connected.
Definitely, you said it perfectly. The listeners will most definitely understand, and I do not think that we need to cut the part where you mentioned about the oral thing.
Yeah,
I think we should leave it, or maybe if you think we should cut it.
No, but because I don't know how is the audience. I mean, I'm still learning about Swedish audience, so I know that we probably more international because we are also talking in English. But obviously it will be.
Yeah. No, it's an international podcast. Yeah. It's not only based in Sweden. Yeah. It's not only for the Swedes. It's an international podcast, so everyone will understand. Yeah.
This is good for you. But I mean, you can touch the sensibility of a country, and I'm still,
I know.
Yeah, learning about Swedish, and I don't know. Yeah.
I know what you mean when it comes to sensibility. But here's the thing, though. Those who will not accept the fact how things are today are the ones who are stuck in a vicious cycle.
Yes, it's true.
So you need to discuss about it. You need to clarify. You need to speak about the real truth, not, of course, the journalistic twist and turn truth or the fake truth from, media and other public figures. The real truth. That's what we want to
and
go
also
out with.
To judge anybody. It's just to put, we say to put on in the middle of the table. In Italy, we say to put in the middle of the table the problem. Just we see, and now we can discuss all together.
Perfect. That's how it should be. That's how it should be, definitely. If you felt finished, we can move on to the next question. Yeah. I think we touched it a bit about we did touch it about the mental illnesses that are increasing. And so if we move on to the next question, then mental illnesses are increasing and suicides as well, despite the negative impact. People within the leading field, journalists and decision makers choose to glorify this instead of really doing something about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Let's say 40, 50 years ago, also 30 years ago, the pain was like something to, especially mental pain, I mean, emotional pain, was something to be hidden. Now, we do exactly the unbalance. Pain often becomes a show. The media love to dramatize it, but they don't talk at the end about the real causes of mental illness, of emotional pain. And the mental health is something that needs a deeply understanding, needs time, needs quiet and listening from the people that have they have the relation with a person, probably in the family or in the working group or in the classroom, whatever. we need time. With mental healthness, we need time. It's something that it has to be talk. We need to talk about it, but not to dramatize, not to do a show about it. And we have to find a good way how to deal with it. I mean, the society doesn't teach us how to deal with mental illness. Empathy should be part of early education, and the media that loves again to dramatize about mental illness demonstrate that they are exactly the opposite of empathy. Changes, again, as the food at the beginning I was talking about it, changes starts from the bottom, from human connection. A kind word, a smile, a shared walk with somebody that you know it's alone, has a problem, is under a family situation that give this person a problem. But it's something that must be, again, taught from the school and taught in the working places. I mean, instead of thinking only to do courses or team building with with the goal on receiving more, for example, more good results in the companies. If you want to have good results for your teams, you have to teach also the people how to be really connected to each other. And again, the small things build real support. Small things, but daily. We need to create small networks where people feel seen. I never talked openly on the web, I mean, on my previous project, La Cucina Verde, because it wasn't something not to talk about it. But my father, he committed suicide when I was only 10 years old. Nobody didn't, they were really astonished, like, how is possible? What happened to him? I never understood that he was so sad. And most of the people, their friends, their family, they were saying, but he didn't mention us he got a problem. Haha. Because this was the problem. Because you don't really see the people. This is the thing.
Yeah.
My father probably, I don't know, but from something that I found after many years in his agendas, he was writing a lot. He was alone. He was with a lot of people. He was a famous painter in the north of Italy. He was full of people all around him, but nobody was really in connection with him. He couldn't obviously try to find a connection, but probably people were, we don't really see the people all around us. And most of the time, the people are really just sitting near to us, in our families, in our offices. And again, it's something that we need to teach the children to talk about their problem and to see if a friend has a problem, to ask him, her, what do you have? There is a problem, and the teachers must be trained to understand what's going on with their scholars. This is the thing. We need to create again small networks where people feel seen. Again, is something that is connected to our humanity. We are running, and the people they felt alone. They are feeling alone. And if we don't stop this kind of running behind silly modern things, people will feel alone and more alone.
You got that right. It's just a simple "how are you?" or "how do you really feel?" Like really feel. Because people say that just ask how are you because it's the norm.
Yeah.
If they say that they do not feel well or that they are just okay, you don't respond. I'm like, how can you not respond to someone who says that they do not feel well or that it's just okay?
Again, in Italy we can say come stai, come ti senti, how you are and how do you feel. When you ask to somebody how do you feel? Something more deeper. And also the question is different. And if you start to use different question again, but the questions are more important than the answers. If you start to ask people in a different way, then slowly, and then also again, take time to wait the answer of the other person. Take time to watch the person in the eyes. Take time also to listen the voice. Again, in Nutripuncture, we are using a lot of the hearing, the listening of the voice of the person, because you can understand immediately if there is something that's going wrong when you ask the person something. The way, the vibration, the tone, the eyes, the eye contact when they are talking to you, it's immediately. And there are people that have problems with the eye contact, but you can feel from the listening and you can feel from the body language. We don't need to be psychologists and really expert for these things, because if we are more connected with ourselves, you can understand. As children, they can understand. If you answer them and you have a problem and they answer, hello, mama, how do you feel? I'm okay. No, there is something strange in your voice. And why is it? And immediately they can feel it. So this is the thing. The disconnection that we are doing for many generations about what we are. It's like we shame ourselves about our emotion. If I'm not feeling well, I can tell you. And it's not a psychology session that we need to do to each other. It's just human being. I have a problem in my life in this moment. We can have a small, short chat about it. And then we can start. When we can forward, we can talk about the thing, for example, if it's job or something else. And then at the end, we can ask to the other person, okay, what do you think about taking a coffee in the next day so we can go forward with your problem? We can talk together. We can also just walk. We can go outside for a walk. Just give the person the feeling that they're really seen and that you can touch we can touch each other in the soul.
Of course, yeah. It's human decency, and it's we are all humans, and no one should be left out. Groups in society, in the world, should not be divided, but unfortunately, because of decision makers and politicians, there are those that are divided, and that are far away from society as possible.
Do you know that in Canada, for example, if you are depressed, the government are offering the free suicide. I mean, you can self-murder yourself with the help of this government if you are depressed. I was shocked. And this can give you the power of how we are manipulated. Instead of help a person, to find a solution, to bring their talents to the society, because in that period of their life are depressed, you are helping. This is a help for the government to commit suicide.
Yes.
Again, this, Joseph, is propaganda. And human propaganda.
Correct. I'm looking at it. Medical assistance in dying in Canada, in Canada's own site, and they are proud to announce it online. I mean, they are proud to announce this online. How can you? But it must satisfy certain safeguards first. Any medical practitioner who administers an assisted death to someone must satisfy certain safeguards first. I mean, what? This is a WTF moment.
Exactly.
A very big one.
A very big one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
Telling to them, you are crazy. Now go out from our government places. Go out from the power places immediately. Nobody was on the streets and doing something again. And just, okay.
Yeah. If you have wrong people in the leading field, this is the result.
Exactly.
Yeah, you felt finished with the
I felt,
question.
yeah, I think.
Yeah, then we can move on. I think we need to move on a bit here to the next questions. We have a couple of more left. So if we move on to the next question, then you do Nutripuncture. Can you tell about it and why you chose to work with it?
So again, Nutripuncture was a connection between what I've studied for many years and in two different sectors. Because one was, again, food, Ayurvedic, macrobiotic food, and Meridian's Chinese approach. And the other one was Psycho-Genealogy, so family root and emotion and whatever. Nutripuncture was something that helped me personally when nothing else helped me in that period of my life, not even the natural methods that I was used to. And I started to study first because somebody talked about Nutripuncture, and I discovered this genius that is Professor Verret. He's a French doctor. He worked on this kind of micro minerals nutritions from over now 40 years. He's still alive, and he's living in France. And he studied these 39 micro minerals and little caps that help our cells to talk to each other better, the communication between the cells. And they are working these 39 little different combination of micro minerals on the meridians that are connected to the organs, that are connected to the emotions. So it is a support that I found immediately. It's something like yoga. You don't need to believe in something. You just have to try it. And easy, really instantly. You can feel immediately the differences between before and after. But you just take it and then you say, okay, there's something different. And it starts from the voice. When you talk about the problem, could be physical, could be the addiction for smoking or cravings, whatever. Could be something more related to the emotion of connected to the family, something like this. And what I like it, that like macrobiotic and Ayurvedic and also the acupuncture, for example, in Chinese meridians, they are not treating the symptoms. I mean, Nutripuncture is not treating the symptoms. It supports the whole system. It supports the body to re-heal, to heal itself. It helped me, for example, with the hormones of my thyroid. I'm just there in premenopause. It helped my hormones for the premenopause phase. It support my mental clarity. My sleeping was better. The feeling aligned inside me. Again, the Nutripuncture is also was famous in Italy for the smoking addiction. Because again, we are working with the Nutripuncture in the connection that are between the addiction that you start to have for something, in that case was the smoking, the cigarettes, and what is behind, and which kind of organ or phase of your life was unbalanced. And then we put together the correct order, we say, of the vital vibration of our cells in our body. And it works in a light way because you don't feel any kind of side effects. Micro minerals, I mean, like for example, zinc inside in these little caps are less than one apple, that the zinc that we find in one apple. So it's something that very natural, is connected with the nutrition and with the acupuncture. And for me was like, like epiphany. When I started to talk with a doctor that is still my teacher now, and also my doctor that helped me with in I think 6 weeks I was okay. And then I told him, okay, now it's around the time that I started to study. And now I'm in the process to be more. I'm doing like a more professional path for Nutripuncture to be more specialized in, again, emotion, addiction, mental unbalance, these kind of things.
Perfect. If we continue with the path that you are in and move on to the next question, then you also do Jungian Psycho-Genealogy. Can you tell about it and why you chose to work with it as well?
Because again, it started after the food, when I understood everything about food, but the connection about emotion, I started to understand that I have to look about my family roots, hidden traumas, patterns that we inherit, and also how these kind of things were connected to my physical problems, and not only emotional. And for me, psychogenealogy with a Jung approach, coming from the Jung, the psychologist, it was a big relief. I mean, it gave me a meaning of to my pain and helped me to change it. Again, I was facing in front of my pain, but I was able, with the right tools, to change and to change completely. I mean, from a bad experience, I found my power. And now I use psychogenealogy together with Nutripuncture, and the results are stronger and easier and quickly. And the awareness about all these connections becomes something that I felt and you feel in the body, not just in your mind. Psychogenealogy was something more with the mind, but with an acupuncture together and with the food, using a correct way of using food, is something that you feel immediately in your body. So for that reason, I was immediately understanding how psychogenealogy was a good, something that can change from the food, the emotion, in the family roots, and now I close the circle with an acupuncture.
Yeah, perfect. You felt finished? I'm thinking we can move on to the next question. Yeah, then we can move on to the next question. Do you believe in the spiritual? If yes, what impact can it have on the body?
Yes, so I'm 100%. I believe in spirituality. For me, is not religion, but I embrace all the religion. I mean, it's not a problem, but the thing is that the spirituality is connected with our body and our soul, and our energy is connected to our soul and to our body. If you are disconnected from the soul, then the body speaks, and often speaks with pain and or sickness. Spirituality is something that is deeply connected with our health and also with our mental health, obviously. And for me, many years ago, when I was rejecting spirituality because I was rejecting the religion, and only because I found probably wrong people in a wrong moment, when I found out again the spirituality and the deep connection with my soul, was just something that about remembering who I really was, who I really am. And especially now, connecting to the other questions, especially under all the noise of the modern life, spirituality is something that we need. We deeply need. We profoundly need to find a sense, to find a vision, to find the mission of our life. Every time I repeat to myself and to my husband, we are here not to pay only invoices and rent and whatever. We are here to do something more, much more. When we forget this, then we feel worse, physically and emotionally. When you start to understand how spiritual we are as human beings and how we are all interconnected, then everything, it appears in a different way. Then I say that, for example, going every day, working every day in an office, even if I don't feel that is not really my job, it's not that job that is giving to you your identity. Is the way how you deal with your colleagues, with your boss, with the people that are working for you, with the people that are around you. That is your identity. And that is the way how you can bring differences in your life and in the lives that people are all around you. Starting with small things. All your questions, again, are really, really coming from the soul, I think, because they are all connected. I can see when I was reading the questions, they are all connected. I mean, there are many questions, but they are all like storytelling. I mean, yeah.
I know, I understand perfectly. Yeah, that's nice to hear. That's great. Well, I want to give the listeners something to think about.
I hope.
Perfect. Yeah, no, the answers are perfect. The listeners will definitely understand. Yeah. If you felt finished, I'm thinking we can move on to the next question.
Yes.
Yeah. You used to run the business La Cucina Verde together with your husband. What was the purpose of that business?
As I said in the beginning, was a project, a food project, and was based with a small kitchen with natural plant-based recipes, food, I mean, vegan and vegetarian, but not because we wanted to manipulate the people but to show the person that you can, if you want, change a little bit in your daily routine. And if you want, you can eat healthier for you and for the planet. But not for the planet because the meat is something against the planet. Because again, as I told you in the beginning, all the system is wrong. And we made recipes that were good for people with allergies, intolerances, or those wanting healthy food, for religion purpose, whatever. And my really mission was to try to find a way to bring everyone together sitting at the table without discrimination. So a celiac person, a vegan person, and I brought a holistic view on this kind of cooking, eating together, and my husband brought his chef experience. It was my way to take care of others through the food. Now is a second step. Now I would like to do a second step. I mean, it's something that La Cucina Verde was really, really powerful in my growing. I mean, in my life. Yeah. It started in Kenya. But was really interesting. A really precious experience for me, for my soul again.
Perfect. Yeah. And then while we continue with your work, we can move on to the next question if you felt finished. Yeah.
Yes.
Now you run the Instagram profile Gaia In Equilibrium. What is the purpose of it?
As I said before, Gaia is my real name because a lot of people here asking me, but Gaia is your name? Yes. Real name? Yes. Well,
yes.
Because it's a Greek and Latin name, and in Latin means happy, and in Greek means the earth. So I grew up with this kind of double meaning of my name, and I was really proud of it. But I started to use it for the first time now in this, let's say, path of it's like a circle. I would like to see like a circle where people can talk about it. I can talk through my experience, through my studies, through my real life, where I can share ideas and experiences, but it's something that we can talk about together, about food, about emotions, about energy, how to stay balanced, even during hard times, especially during hard times. I share tools. I will share tools. I share stories, things that I have learned in my journey. It's an evolving project, but the message for me is clear. We can remember who we really are, and we can rise again together. So it's something that is something small to do every day together.
Perfect. If you felt finished, we can move on to the next question, I'm thinking. Yes, we are on a bit on a schedule, so I'm thinking we're not gonna drag out this interview. But when did you arrive to Sweden? This is just a sidetrack question. Which year was it you arrived to Sweden?
Was November 2021.
Okay, because we have arrived to the next question. So yeah, if we move on to the next question, then what cultural shocks did you find odd and or downright ridiculous when you arrived to Sweden?
So, from a food view, I was surprised by how much people eat tropical fruit and summer vegetables, even in winter. I expected, with the meters of snow and a lot of ice, to see warm soups in a cold country. I mean, to see more vegetables that are good to produce warm soups and not tomatoes and peppers in December. Also, I saw people eating a lot of sugar, candies, and salt, chips, a lot, extreme cravings. And again, Macrobiotics explains perfectly this kind of waves that is the yin-yang imbalance. This was, for me, as a therapist, a nutritional macrobiotic therapist, was really, a shock, more than in Italy. I don't know why. I was thinking about Swedish people more connected to their roots with the food, but no, was not. And then I understood again that is something that is worldwide, a manipulation to disconnect people from their own root, from the place where they live. So, and the other thing that is more funny, but I think is connected. I mean, I have a nice window from my kitchen. I have a view on the road where people are going up and down in the morning. And I was looking with the eyes on the streets, a lot of ice on the streets, a lot of coldness, like -10, -15 in December, January. They are walking. I can't understand really how people here can walk on icy streets with the summer sneakers. This for me is now the WTF moment. How they? I mean, I need hooks. I need more boots. I need a lot of. How is it possible? They can walk with summer sneakers on the icy street.
Yeah. Some walk with Crocs on the icy street or with bikinis. That was also for a while. People went out with bikinis. And bathing clothes. So, but that's for a different topic.
Yeah, but again, walking on icy streets, not in Palermo in December. I mean,
no, right?
This kind of.
No, definitely.
Risking also their lives. I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah.
So these are the two shocks.
Yeah, those are the cultural shocks that you found odd or ridiculous. Yeah.
But funny.
So if you felt finished, I'm thinking we can continue with the questions. And if we stick to the subject on culture. So here is the next question. What does a typical Italian household look like in terms of food and culture?
So there are many different food culture in Italy, because we have different regions with different regional recipe, but there are some kind of stones, food stones that we share all together. Food, first of all, is very important. It's something serious, okay? There is something that you can't put pineapple on pizza, whatever. Pizza is pizza. Don't put pineapple or kebab. Then don't put cream in carbonara. Don't use cream in pesto. Never. Don't cut spaghetti. These are the funny things that we, from the north to the south, from the east, from the west, we agreed, Italians, and we are very different. From the north to the south, we are completely different Italians culture. The other thing is that food is not just about eating. It is about family. All the people are asking, how do you do, for example, in the north, polenta, that is mice corn, polenta with cheese. And Every family has different kind of cheese that put together, or in the south of Italy, for example, pastiera, that is a sweet cake. Everybody, or Tuscany, because I have a family that I have different roots in all part of Italy. So I grew up with this kind of, how do you do, for example, carbonara? How do you do it? And all the families are sharing a little bit different kind of ingredients. It's really food. It's about identity.
Yeah.
And each region exactly has its own recipes. In every home, the table is a place where you meet to talk, only one time a day, but it's important. Where you talk together, when you celebrate together, where you also fight sometimes. It depends from the region. You shout a little bit more, or a little bit more control, like in the north. We are more calm. But
that's in my culture as well. I'm Syriac, Christian Orthodox, so that's in our culture as well. And when you speak with each other, like you say all kinds of bad words, but you say them with irony.
Yeah, we use a lot of irony too. Yes. And also sometimes a bad word is something that you can say it, but then it's forget immediately. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's say that the typical Italian home is more for older people now. Food quality and seasons matter a lot, but more for old people. The younger people, let's say also younger like me, 50 years old, it's still a sacred theme, the food, but not so seasonal. This is the sad thing. But yeah, normally we sit all together around the table to talk about problems. So not only funny things, but we sit now, we eat something together, and we just discuss about it. This is the
Perfect. If you felt finished, we can move on to the next question, I'm thinking. Then we have the very last question of this interview, this discussion. So, what is your household like in terms of food and culture?
So, we have two different approach, me and my husband. My husband is more traditional, but obviously he knows very well about macrobiotic food. So we try to find a compromise, because I'm more macrobiotic, Ayurvedic, with sometimes for celebration typical Italian food like lasagne, parmigiana. I prefer to eat every day something very simple, but most important thing is full of love. So a lot of consciousness about of love. I'm cooking now for my family, rice, chickpeas, greens, whatever, but more, just not only to eat something, but because it's done with love. We together, my husband and me, we like to experiment also and use fresh local products. And also we do a lot of homemade ingredients, like, for example, ricotta, but also tofu, because again, I'm more fusion. So I do my tofu. I try to find only organic soy seeds, and I do my tofu. Same from, I'm looking in the farm here around me, and I go to the organic farms to buy eggs and milk. And so I do my own ricotta at home. And then we do our bread with, as I told you at the beginning, with the Swedish flour, bread and pizza. And we try not to waste anything. I mean, everything can be reused, recycled. For example, from the lemon that I used to squeeze, that are coming obviously from Italy and Spain, that I squeeze in the morning in my hot water with lemon. I reuse the lemon peels and the lemon that I can't use it. I used to do my own soap for the dishing machine, dishing machine. And then, the other thing is that we try to take care of teaching to our child how to cook and how to be independent and to respect food. And this is our daily way of showing to each other love and to taking care of each other.
Perfect. And that was the very last question of this discussion, this interview.
Yeah.
Perfect. That was the very last question of this episode. And I would like to thank you, Gaia, for being on this episode, the 8th episode, about the topic food and culture of the podcast, society and stuff. So thank you.
Thank you to you, Joseph, and thank you for giving me space to share all of this. I hope these words reach someone who is looking for a change or a new way to feel better. Maybe also here in Sweden, I will meet others who feel the same. Who knows? Together we can grow small circles of connection and healing. And yes, thank you so much for your questions. I really appreciate it.
And thank you that you could take your time being on this episode. I'm very appreciative. And before we finish the entire session,
yeah,
you see my hand sign?
No, I can't see you because now you are giggling.
Now I'm doing the Italian hand sign. Yeah. Perfect. It's okay.
You know, in the north we say like more like this. Hey, what are you saying? This is more like this. Hey, what are you saying? Like this, it's more center and south of Italy.
Yeah, perfect. You have a good one, Gaia. We will probably get in touch.
Yes, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you and goodbye.
Look.
Hi, how cute. Ciao.